So I thought about making a video about the V40, but I decided I didn't want to because it's been covered all over the place. So I wanted to do a video of the UI, and as you can see, it's already so interesting by having that 360 wallpaper in the background. And the more I move it, the more I can see. And if I want to change it, I could go to wallpapers, go to 360, go to settings, go to image, go to number 2. These are the pre-installed ones, just so you know. You can download a lot more, and they do give you a lot more options. Go back out, hit apply, set, and now we're in this wallpaper. And here you can see where the apps are. Now this is a launcher. I do have a launcher, but that has nothing to do with the wallpaper. The wallpaper is from LG, and the launcher is exactly the same as the one on LG, except this one brings the bottom Google search bar down here. That's about it. Other than that, you do get the same carousel. You could do different settings on the carousels. You could do from like regular Samsung style to like this carousel, and there's other options in here which I can show you by going into display and going into where is it? I can't find it right now, but let's go into wallpaper and themes, because this menu is so complex. So here we see that we have a lot of options for themes, icons, and we have the always on displays, and there's a lot of always on displays. But you can find a lot more if you go to the store, but we'll go to that in a little bit. So let's go one by one on the UI. So here we have Wi-Fi, nothing really special, it's just a regular Wi-Fi, same as the Bluetooth. Here's where you connect. Alright, this is the data that you're using, where you can say not allow, like block the data that you don't want to use. Here is the calling, so you could do Wi-Fi calling on this device, but you could also put it so that it prefers to use cellular network, which is what I like to do. You can set different alerts. So it does have a lot of complex options. It gives you almost every little option. This phone thought of everything, which is really nice, but the UI has not changed. And it's a little cluttered, and as you can see, there's a lot of things going on, and to go through this whole thing takes time, and you'll see right now. So we're going to go screen sharing. Screen sharing is really good on this device, especially mirroring on TVs. NFC would work with like Android Pay, or like, let's say, a bank one like Chase Pay, Android Beam, to beam files over. You hardly use that anymore because we just like email our stuff or just send it through WhatsApp or something like that. So it's not used a lot, but you can do file sharing, as you can see over here, and you can do printing. You just need to download, let's say, like, for instance, I use a Samsung printer, the app for it to print. Alright, so here we have Wi-Fi calling, which I told you it does have, airplane mode enabled, and VPN, which I don't even know what this one's for. Down here we have other little menus. These sub-menus will be in other areas, so I don't want to touch them right now. So let's go into sound, and in sound we have normal sound settings, normal volume. Volume, one thing that I do like about the Samsung is that it allows you to download an app that allows you to have 2 app volume controls. Like if you're doing video and, let's say, listening to music at the same time, you can control the audio of the video and the music at the same time, but you do have to download an app for that. I like that that's an option, though. I wish that LG does do something about that in the future. I like that they have a more rounded new UI on the new Samsung UI that came out, UI 1. It is way more organized and a lot more easier to use and user-friendly. And I like that it's more finger-friendly because of the bubbliness of it. So here we could see that we have the ringtones. There's a tons of ringtones that you have to choose from. Vibration with ringtones, flash alert with incoming calls. These are the notification sounds that you have. There's a ton of them too. the do not disturb mode, so when you don't want to be disturbed at certain times. Here is one of the special qualities of the V40, which is the built-in DAC that it has. Allows you to have 32-bit instead of 16-bit that you have on every other phone. That means it's doubling the quality by, you know, that bit is kind of like, instead of seeing a regular natural wave of a sound, it breaks up into like little steps, and the smaller the steps, the more closer it is to the original. So you will have a less electronically sound. It'll sound more natural to the original, and that's what this DAC does. On top of that, it gives it a lot more amplification for, like, say, headphones that maybe want to push more, or maybe even a speaker you want to use on it for a party or something. It will pump a lot louder the volume because it has more amplification and push the speakers more. One of the nice things about the V40 is that it's one of the first, or not actually the first, but they started implementing an equalizer, which allows you to change up, because it was a very flat sounding one, and I like to boost the bass, so I have a bass booster on here. But let's go back out. And that's one thing that I think all manufacturers, especially the S10, should come with, and the Mate 30 with a DAC. Guys, let's make this popular. The DACs sound beautiful. Even on Bluetooth, the volume of the amplification is a lot louder on the V40, and you can look it up in any reviews and you will notice that the V40 has the best sound out of any different device. So if you're an audiophile and you like to listen to music, this is the phone that you would definitely want to buy. Okay, so it's even improved from the V30, believe it or not, and the V20. The strength of the vibration is here, but it's actually not as strong as the Samsung's, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Vibration type, you have all these. There's actually a couple of new ones in here, so they keep adding new little like I would say like sounds, vibration types, and little things like that to it, but the UI itself hasn't changed a lot. In fact, if you buy any LG, this will look very similar, just less features. The keypad sound, the keyboard sound. Like, if you look at all this, this could have been in a sub menu, but here it is. It's all in here and it's all cluttered. Let's go into, we already did network, we did sound. Let's go to display, and here we can see the themes that we were talking about, the fonts that you could change. I like to go a little bit smaller on the font so that it kind of looks like a higher resolution. Here you could adapt the screen to either show the notch or not show the notch. Either way, just so you know, LG does a very intelligent notch, and I could show you that right now. Right now we're showing the notch, but if I come and I play, let's say, a YouTube video, or if I come and I show you, let's say, in my gallery, let's go to my gallery. All right. If I go to my gallery and I open up this video right now, it will not show the notch just once. Even if I zoom it. So even though I had it zoomed in, like you saw it there, it knows that it should not go into the notch, and that's very nice. I mean, that's really important. It doesn't do it on videos or photos, but it'll do it on almost every other thing. It does not do it on games either. So let's open up a game, just a simple game. You notice there's no notch on this game?
Cookie!
And it's the full size. So it does not use it on games, on videos, or it'll cut it off right before the notch, like right underneath it. But it will not show a notch on videos, video games, or pictures. But on everything else on the apps, it will show it. Like if I open up my calendar, it will show it. And I like that. That's important. That's intelligent. The notch does not bother you at that point. Why? Because it's not getting in your way. I don't want to cut off a bit of my photo or a bit of my video or even a bit of my video game. It just doesn't make sense. But maybe a bit of the top of the app, I don't mind that. Like right there in let's say in Gmail or in messages. I don't want it to bother me on the top of the app. So that's one of the things that I do like. Like here in Calculator, it doesn't bother me. And that's what LG did a lot better with the notch. In fact, it does, I think it's one of the best notches available. If there's any other brands that does this, please guys let me know, because it's so cool. All right, because I know you can take off the notch and not show it on any apps, but then it kind of defeats the purpose of having the notch. To show more screen. So in this way, the way they are doing it is showing more screen, but without compromising and having it annoy you in a photo or a video that you have. Okay, so one of the things that you have in let's go back, is the whole bunch of customization that you have in here. So you saw all the videos. You could, one of the things that you can do is that even if you choose, let's say, one of these themes, you could always come and change the icon of that theme. So you can mix and match together. So you could, and then you could also have a different always on display. And the always on display is very useful on the LGs because you could pause, rewind, do a couple of things that you don't do on the Samsungs. Okay, and so let's go to home touch buttons. So you can change the combination of the buttons. Let's go to always on display. So these are all the different styles that you could have, from your name to your analog clock to a dual clock to a image that you could have. I think I have an image right now. But let's check. Close it, turn it back on. Oh wait, let's show the always on display. So there's the always on display. Then we're gonna turn it on. Then we're going to, and I have photo. Then we're gonna do the combination and get in, and now we're back in. So that's what it looks like on the always on display and the lock screen. Expert color, this is a very important thing you want to do to your LG. So this is not only showing you what the UI is, but it also shows you how to fix the color right here. You definitely want to go into expert. Click on expert, go into there, and do the saturation all the way up. And as you can see, it's going to look so much better. You may not see it right now because you're not on the LG V40, but if you are on it, you definitely want to saturate the screen, because the screen on this phone looks very dull compared to a Samsung OLED. I don't know why. It almost looks like it was an LCD display. But once you saturate it, it will get closer. Still not as saturated as a Samsung, but it'll get a lot better. And at certain times, it will look even better. I think the problem is that once you saturate it, it's the brightness that it doesn't compare to a Samsung. The brightness of this OLED, for some reason, is not as bright as the one on the Samsung. And it does have a super bright mode over here that it says it can. But once you have it at this brightness, it will create an issue with the battery. So that's why, and it will actually take it off after, like, I don't know if it's 15 minutes or 5 minutes. So you can't have it at that brightness. And Samsung's, like, I'll give you an example. If I'm at this level on LG, on a Samsung, at the same level would be right around there. And at this level on a Samsung would be like right here on. So it's like a quarter higher of brightness is what I'm trying to explain to you. That's one of the things that I have noticed. It kind of bothers me when I move from a Samsung to an LG, like on a daily basis, when you're holding them both together. When you're using just one, it won't bother you. It's just something that is that way. I kind of feel like that makes me waste more battery because I have to have it a little bit brighter on the LG versus the Samsung. For some reason, I can like dim it a little bit more and it's still kind of a little bright. Other than that, I don't think I have an issue with that. So app scaling, I always reduce it to the minimum size so I could fit more. So here you could go to either normal, compatible, standard, or full. Full means it's going to stretch out to the full size of the screen. So you could go full like that. Compatible, which is going to try to like zoom it, but still make sure that it's compatible with it. So it's like a small zoom. Standard, which you can see it goes all the way up to where the notch is, but it doesn't really go into the notch. And if you wanted to go all the way into the notch, you could go like that, or none if you want to keep it original. I'm just gonna hit cancel. It was working fine. Some apps work fine, so you don't need to actually stretch them out, but if you want to stretch some certain apps out, you can, and you should give it a try, because sometimes they do affect where the text goes. And then here we have an HDR video effect. If you want HDR video to see like some videos on YouTube with HDR, this screen will support HDR. That's a really good thing because not all phones support HDR. Then we have the comfort view. This allows you to have a blue light filter so it'll yellow out a little. If you want to give like that little Samsung tone, you might want to tweak this. You could actually lower the blue and it will give it a more Samsung-ish tone because Samsung has a little bit more warmer screen. And so if you have a Samsung next to it, you could kind of like adjust it. It'll be like maybe I would say like 10% less. So here I have it on a schedule, but let's turn it on. So here it went a little yellow, as you can see, but it's not too yellow. And I would say to get a Samsung tone, you'd have to be like somewhere there. Not too high, but not too low. But the best way to do it is to have it next to a Samsung phone and you compare it until you get the white balance correctly. It might give you that richer, saturated color also that you would like. Okay, so let's keep going. All right, so we have the auto rotation on, the screen time, mini view. Mini view, what this is it's pretty much that you could minimize it so you could one hand that move things. I like that now they have a new thing in some phones where you could pop out certain apps and kind of like move them to wherever you want. So if you want to have like the dialer open while you're viewing something on, let's say, a website, so you could put in the, let's say, copy the number of a website, you can do that. All right, so going into general, we have our security lock screen. It does have face unlock, and the fingerprints is super fast. So I don't know, some people were complaining the LG wasn't as fast. It might be a microsecond slower, but I don't really notice it. But face unlock is really fast, and it works really well. And I tried printing a picture and putting my face in it, and it didn't unlock it. So trust me, it's a lot more secure than people believe it is. You just have to trust it a little bit. I mean, people aren't going to go out and take a picture of you, print it out and put it in front of your phone and steal your phone to do all this. It's going to take a lot of things. So it's secure. Don't worry about it. It does have knock-knock code. If nobody's ever used a knock-knock code, it means you have to go like this, something like this, and choose the codes that you want. It's very interesting. I like it. I prefer it over a pin, but it's probably a lot easier to crack depending on how long your code is. Okay, so going down here, we have the privacy, location. You can hit high, low accuracy. I always have it on high because I want to keep it so that it tells me where I am, especially for GPS. You need to have it high. You can turn it low if you want to save battery. Phone administrators, just, so you got a lot of options in here, and some of this stuff could have been stuck in like sub menus because a lot of this stuff you don't use a lot, so they could have stuck it in there, but they make you look at every little thing, and there's so much to this phone that it just gets a little confusing. So then you have the app notifications. Here you can reduce which notifications you want to have, which ones you don't. A lot of phones already bring this stuff, but I'm just showing you all the stuff and how they do it on the LG. Here you have which batteries are wasting you more, consumption, the storage, accessibility features, the Google settings. Smart Clean. Smart Clean is a really nice app to have, and I'm glad that they actually included this on LG's. That now allows me to click on it, optimize, and make sure which apps are using my RAM. It'll start closing up apps that are using too much RAM. I wanted to stop it because I don't want it to close my screen recording. It might close it, I'm not sure. Let's go into floating bar, which is what I was talking to you about. So you can have floating bar apps. So here we go. You could do writing on the screen, just like the note, but you're using your finger, and you can delete, just like that. That's screen capturing, and that's all that stuff that you have down here with the shortcuts. Gaming, you could optimize for best gaming, but you could also put that some games that are very simple, not use all your graphics so that you don't waste that much battery. I keep it on highest all the time. I mean, who's gonna be worrying about all that? This is so that when you come home, context awareness, so that when you come home, it'll unlock the phone and keep it unlocked, and when you go to work, it'll keep it unlocked, or little like customizations that you want to do. There's actually an app that you could download, but I think from the Google Store they blocked it, that allows you to do all this. But Samsung has LG has all this, which is kind of cool. It gives you the ability to, like, when you plug in headphones, it'll start your Spotify or whatever you want, or if you plug in your headphones, it'll start up your Google Play. Or for instance, when you come home, it'll turn off your mobile data so that you could have, let's say, optimize so that maybe you don't want to use your mobile data, you'll use your Wi-Fi, and it'll turn on your Wi-Fi. But the minute you go away from home, it'll turn off your Wi-Fi and then turn on your mobile data. Stuff like that. That is really cool, and it does work. It just, sometimes the geofences are a lot bigger than I expected. So like sometimes I'm at home and sometimes I'm close to the house, but I still don't have a signal to Wi-Fi, and it'll disconnect my data and turn on my Wi-Fi, and I still am not close enough to the house to get Wi-Fi. But there's other ways to do it, where if you connect to the Wi-Fi of your house, it'll turn off your data. It's very complex. You can mess around with all this stuff for it to be automated. Kind of like if you plug into your car with the USB, you want to know that, oh, you're in your car, and now turn on the radio and turn on Waze, that kind of stuff. So it's automation. Gaming, we went through shortcut keys. All right, so this is what you're going to do at the shortcut keys. So we're going to put the camera when you press twice. So press twice and then open the camera. Open capture, open a capture by pressing volume up twice. Open the camera. So these are like quick shortcut ways to getting into certain things. So it's saying by pressing the power twice, we get to the camera. By by pressing the volume up twice, we do a capture. Things like that. So it's nice to have shortcuts. Some people really like those things, so it's cool to have them. The knock on the screen, what that does is that if I double tap on the screen, it shuts off. It should shut off on a part where there's nothing on the screen. But because I have a launcher, it's not doing it. I noticed that it's going into the settings, because I think I have it in the settings to double tap to go into settings. But if I turn it off and I double tap on the screen, it'll turn on. That's one of the things that is really cool about the LGs. I like to double tap on the screen to turn on the screen instead of having to look for the power button. That's a lot cooler than anything else that I've seen. Alright, so now we're going to the update center. Like I said, there's no updates ever on the LG apps, which is very disappointing, because with Samsung, they're constantly updating their apps, from their messaging to phone to calendar to watch apps and constantly updating them, and I'm getting updates maybe almost daily. And I like that because they're constantly keeping their UI fresh, and they're constantly giving you new features and listening to their customers and changing everything. I like that, and you don't get that on the Samsung. And down here is where you get the latest version that we're on, the October, on version 8.1 with the October security patch. And then here's the language. You could have dual language on the LG keyboard, but I prefer Gboard, which is a little bit more accurate for me and allows you to do other things like do searches on Google. And then we have languages. Data and time. Memory. How much memory you're using. Backup. So this is how you do the LG switch, mobile switch. Now this has been updated almost once a month. They surely want to make sure that you switch to LG. Restart and reset. This is so you can reset your whole phone to factory or just the networking. When it gives you problems with networking problems, you just hit networking. Or reset app preferences, and that will delete all your apps to, like, let's say when you first downloaded them, so you're gonna have to relog in. Developer options. Developer options I actually enabled. You have to enable this, but the reason why this phone is going a little bit quicker is because I disabled the animations on them. So here's where you disable the animations. They're off. That's the only thing I really use developer options for. There are other cool things in there, but watch out what you touch because you could mess up your phone. If you have a slower phone, just so you know, like an older LG, you can enable force 2D GPU. So to force the GPU to use your to draw 2D, it'll actually save you battery, and it'll actually, here it is. It'll actually save you battery, and it'll actually make your phone faster, but only if you have like a budget device, not a mid-ranger or a high-end device where your CPU is so good that it actually doesn't require the GPU to do 2D. Okay, and then we have restart, which we just did, I'm sorry. About phone, which we showed you that we're on 8.1. The regulatory safety, which I'm not going to go into, and support for LG. Alright, support for LG is nowhere near what the Samsung is. I could literally, with Samsung, call somebody, see them on my phone, and have them remotely fix my phone for something that I'm showing them. And I could show them the problem because they could see my screen. I don't have that with LG, so we need a little bit more support, LG. This is where Samsung excels because they give you updates on their applications, keep the UI fresh, they're constantly updating their applications, and they're giving you better support by giving you a live assistant. Alright, and here's the notifications area. Okay, so now we're going to go into the camera. So in the camera, I'm not going to go like, alright, so in the camera, here's the difference. We have 3 cameras. Okay, the first camera is really designed to take photos just like any other photo in your collection, like that you would have on a Samsung or any, let's say an iPhone or whatever. But then you have the zoom button, which is what you have on the new iPhone and the new Samsungs and the new phones. But nobody yet, except for the Mate, has added the wide angle, which is so useful. It's one of the most useful ones to add. It gives you the ability to take the whole scene. So like if you're sitting down in a table and you want to take the whole people in the table, you want to take the whole party, you could stay sitting down and use the wide angle camera and you will take everyone in the picture. But if you have a Samsung phone or an iPhone, you have to get out of the table, stand back a few steps, and take the photo, and that would be that camera right there. Okay, so let's go into the main options of the camera. So you have Google Lens, and what that does is it's going to try to figure out what it's looking at. Right now, because it's black, it doesn't know what's going on. But it'll start giving you examples of whether it's a table, whether it's a scene, whether it's a car, and it'll try to optimize the filters to that. I don't know how that does it, because even if it's a car, why would you want to optimize the colors for a car or something? I don't know how that works, but sometimes it gives you nice filters. So portrait mode on the LGs is not bad, but I prefer it on the Moto because I could stand back further, but it's not that bad on this one. Because a lot of the portrait modes that I see on like Samsung or iPhone, you have to literally like stand back because it keeps zooming in. It's a very zoomed in photo, and on top of that, the more you stand back, it tells you no, you got to stand closer. So when you do a portrait mode on a Samsung or iPhone, you're only taking the person's head. While on the Moto and on the LG, you could actually take the whole person's body and stand back further and blur out the background scene, and the person in front of you can stand in front of you and see the whole body. So I like that it doesn't have to be so up close on the LG or Moto, but I prefer the way the Moto does it. I don't know why. I know people don't like it, but I've had really good results with the portrait mode. Here we have the resolutions of the cameras. I do 18:9 because, come on guys, 16:9 you get bars on left and right on the new phones, and when you're sharing them on social networks where they're looking at them on phones, so you might as well keep them full screen, which is the 18:9. Same with the video, same with the camera, 18:9. And if you want to do a cinematic, and you want to do something that makes it look and feel, or maybe you're an amateur guy who wants to do, let's say, an amateur film, or even YouTube people who want to make that feel look almost like you're watching a movie, this phone will do it. And that's what's really cool about that. So here we go into mode, and we can go into manual mode. That's for the camera. This is for the video. This is where this phone excels right now, what we're looking at. Now here in manual mode, you will see all the options, like, okay, we have 30 frames per second at 24 MIPS, and I could come and change the microphone. So if I'm in a loud concert, I could change the gain, lower it, or lower the dB so that I don't listen to certain super low basses that it's going to make problems. I have a noise wind filter that allows me to avoid all that wind noise. And trust me, the microphones on the LGs and this customization that you have for the microphone makes the best sound recording for vlogging. So this is the best vlogging phone, best amateur indie phone, best for any content media that you want to do. Or let's say even for you want to use it for sales, to do a video for sales. This is the phone you want to have, not an iPhone. You could customize it, but you will need to know how to do this stuff. From the focus, you could manually focus here. Why would you want to manually focus? Okay, let's say you want to keep focus on something, but you want to move around and not have the camera adjust every so often looking for what it needs to focus on. So then you could use the manual focus. Or maybe you want to focus on something else, and you could go from one thing to another thing focus, and you could do it straight from here. So you would go like this. Or you could come and just say manual focus, or you could go autofocus by just clicking auto on the top. Then you have EV, and I don't even know what this is for, but I know it has something to do with, I think it's how long it sustains. Oh no, this is the one that sustains shutter. This one, the ISO is I don't know what the ISO is. I'm sorry, I don't use all this stuff, but it is so complex and it's so nice. But the reason why I like to go into these modes, I'm going to go into auto on these modes, but the reason why I like to use this is because when you go into settings, I could go into video, and I'm going to go to 21:9 resolution, And that's the video resolution that they use on Blu-rays when you watch a movie and they have the black bar on the bottom and the black bar on the top. They're actually using the 21:9, and I like that because I'm sure that in the future that's going to be the resolution on phones, TVs, monitors, and everything. So we're like future-proofing stuff. And then the frame rate, if you want to go like cinematic, you will go for the 24 frames per second, which is what they record movies in. So if you're an amateur movie guy or you want to be a vlogger that makes the feel look cinematic, then you go for 24 frames. If you want to make it look like faster action and you want to do faster action on something, you will go to 60 frames so that it looks smoother and it looks sharper. I prefer 60 frames. That's where I like to go 21:9 at 60 frames. That's my favorite setting for video. You can do HDR10 on this, and you can do super bright camera, but it depends on what mode you are and what bit rates. Here I'm at high bit rate. So let's see, I'm at 60 frames. Let's go to 24 or 30. Then if I go to 30 frames, it allows me to do HDR10, so I will get a more cinematic feel, and it will allow me to record hi-fi audio. So yes, we do have a higher bit rate that we can go HD, which we don't have that ability in all phones, trust me. Not all phones do HD audio, but this one does allow it, even though it doesn't support it in every device. So they won't listen to it if you record it in HD and share it to them. But it will give you the ability to future-proof, because future devices should have this. Also, we have steady recording, which allows you to reduce a little bit of the motion blur. It works okay. I mean, it's not the best in the industry, but it's okay. It's pretty decent. Live photo allows you to record a little bit of action before you actually take the photo. So in case you missed something in the photo that you wanted to take, you could go back to the live action photo and kind of like look at it and maybe like stop, pause it, and screenshot it or something like that. Take a picture of it so you don't miss the moment. Also, you have take a photo by saying cheese, smile, whiskey, kimchi, or LG. It's nice when you're taking a group photo, you want to be in it. You can stand far away from it, and instead of having to use like Samsung using the S Pen remotely to launch it, you just say cheese, and it's natural for everyone to say cheese, and then they all smile and they take the photo. That's really cool. Okay, so we have the grid that allows you to take like a more professional. Make sure you take the metering or the way that you angle the photo, and make sure that you're straightened and it's not going to come out like unproportional. So people that use grid will let you know what that's for. If you like to have a grid, you have the grid option. You have tag locations here. You also can add a signature to yourself. You can do it in different ways and how you want the handwriting to be. I think it's pretty cool to have a signature, because you want to put down your channel from YouTube, what you are. It won't come out on video, but at least on the photos it will. And it's a nice feature to have. Okay, so touching on the other cameras, automatic is already automatic. We went through that with the Google Lens and all that other stuff. We went through the manual on the camera and the video. But the Cine Video allows you to do a point zoom. So if I want to do in this zoom, let's say there's a kid in that street over there and I want to zoom into it, I'll get a bar just like this and it'll allow me to zoom. I can't do it now because if I hit record, it'll say I cannot record and do this at the same time. So it won't pop up with that thing. But the minute you hit record, you will get a thing that will allow you to zoom in and out. And the way it zooms is that it slowly zooms into this square or location that I'm choosing. That is fantastic because it's almost like you have a mechanism arm that's doing it for you, like in the movies. So this is great for indie developers that are doing indie movie makers and people who are doing YouTube videos. You have a really cool thing that not even a DSLR or a mirrorless camera has. I love these features that LG really focused a lot on what's content consumption, and focus a lot on the camera software, a lot of on the editing software. So you could come in after this, edit all the video that you want for your without having to add another app. So let's go into modes and I'll show you that. If you go into food, it'll saturate the colors, make it really poppy and bright. As you can see right now, you can't actually see it right now, but it'll pop up the videos like in a really nice saturated way. I like to use it for food, but you could even change the temperature colors on the right hand right here if you wanted to change the temperature. But let's say you want to make it a little bit more reddish if it's peppers or something like that, or a pizza, or more bluish if it's like something that's like water or something like that. But what I really like about it is the fact that if I want to take grass or the sky, it saturates it and it gives me that photo that I want to take sometimes when I just want a nice saturated photo. So think of a food mode like more of a saturated mode. Slow motion works really well because it has really cool editing tools that I talked to you about, and it allows me to take the video normally and then choose which parts I want to have slow motion. Unlike Samsung, that it automatically does it based on you moving, this I could choose and edit and add stickers, text, cut it, trim it, do all the things I need to do without even having no extra app. That is really cool. Let's go to the next mode, panoramic mode, which we all know. It's, you just move the phone side to side all the way across, and we take a nice wide, super wide angle. And when we have the cut flash, but you really don't need panoramic with this wide angle lens, which is really nice. So this allows you to take 3-second photos as a GIF. So you can make your own GIFs and then upload them to the internet and make them famous. Okay. AR stickers, you kind of move the phone around so it takes the whole scene of the area that you're in, so that you could actually take a picture of, so you could actually put, like, let's say a character, like a Star Trek character, the way they did in the iPhone, and it will help you to, let's do that again. So you could put a Star Trek character or something like that on there and take a picture with him, the way they did it in the iPhone presentation. I don't know if you saw that, but it allows you to lay a person there or a character and move around the camera, and it'll still stay in the same place, almost like he was really there, like a virtual person. So you see this, these are, I don't know if it'll allow me to do it because we're doing playback right now, but I'm just gonna try to do what I can do. I don't know why it looks black. Maybe because it's too dark. It adapts to the darkness of where you're at. So now they're looking like shadows. But that's what it does. Okay. And then we go into mode, and the last one is CineShot. Start by recording a video while keeping your camera still. So CineShot is the last mode that we have available for this. And so this is part of it. Now, if I record a video, which I can't record, I would love to go into the interface where it shows me all the editing tools that you have, but you're going to have to trust me on this. It has almost everything you need without having to download an additional app, from stickers to text and the way you could resize it and change them, different fonts, cutting, editing, and all that stuff right on the phone. And it's really nice because you don't need an extra app, and that allows you to not have more resources, and they're really resource friendly, the apps that come with it. All right, so we touched the bases on the camera, which is a really long thing. And another special thing that we have on this phone, besides the camera, was the sound, which we already touched on too. The sound, the camera are the special things, the content media, and the editing that you have on this. Here is the gallery in case you guys wanted to see what it looked like, what it does. It's very simple, nothing special. A lot of the apps from LG just seem very simple. I think that they need to be updated. I think the UI needs to be overhauled. I think the settings needs to be way more organized. and fixed. They need to bubble out a lot of the stuff. They need to put things in submenus and organize a lot of their stuff. But in reality, it's a really good phone. And if you're going to be using it for any content media, so if you were a YouTuber, if you're a vlogger, if you are a indie person that's making movies, guys, or you're making commercials for something, this is the phone to have. You can do everything, and if you learn how to use it, it's going to be a very powerful tool, and it's going to have things and tools that you don't get on any other phone. So I hope you guys like this video. If you have more questions on this phone and what it can do, what other features or the things you're wondering about, please let me know in the comments. And check out my other video on the latest Samsung UI, which I prefer over this one. And just so you know, Samsung will get a wide angle lens on the Samsung 10, and the new UI is so good that I don't know, I just might make the move to a Samsung on the Samsung 10 S10. So I'll see you guys later. Enjoy and have a happy Thanksgiving, because it's Thanksgiving. Bye, guys. So I said goodbye, but I forgot to tell you, wanted to show you really quick that I could show you how to edit. So I'm actually doing this video while I'm editing. I wanted to give you a quick show of what kind of tools you guys get when you're editing. So if you want to edit and you want to make a movie, just go to create a movie. You choose the two, and you choose it in the positions that you want it to go. So if you want this one to be first, you choose that one first, and if you want the second one to go after, you choose the second one. If you have more than let's say 5, 10, or whatever, you just choose which ones you want in the order you want them to come up. Okay, then you click next. It'll come up here, and now you have them, and it's very easy. I mean, in other programs, sometimes it takes forever for them to merge and all this and to transfer. And then you have in library, you could go into, let's say, themes, or you can choose soundtracks that you want to add to it, system fonts or whatever. Let's go into themes, and here I can choose something like Special Day, and it'll give me a sample of what it'll look like if I use this.
So I thought about making a video about the V40, but I decided I didn't want to because it's been covered all over the place. So I wanted to do...
If I didn't like that one, I could choose another one like this one, Fantasy.
So I thought about making a video about the V40, but I decided I didn't want to because it's...
So there's thousands of themes. I mean, there's a whole bunch of themes, and then on top of that, you can download more themes if you wanted to. Obviously, these are paid themes, but they're still cool to have that you have a lot of themes, and you can choose a lot more themes to download, and I mean a lot more. So that's all you got to do to get into the theming of this device. And there's definitely other features that we can have. We could add the soundtracks, we could edit it, but I just wanted to show you what theming was, and how many themes you can have, and how you can make like a quick iMovie, merge videos, and add filters and themes to your videos. Right now I don't have any soundtracks installed, so when I click soundtracks, I can, actually I do. Let's go. Those are the soundtracks we do have available. System fonts allows me to change it. Let's go into dreamy mode. I don't even know what that does, because I guess that's where I put my title. Let's just call it Tech Pimp. Oops. Alright. Author. Oh, that's the opposite. This is V40. So you get the idea. I don't want to edit my video while I'm showing you this, but in case you're interested, I can make a video of how to edit videos on this phone. But I just wanted to give you a quick show of what you can do on this device. So I'm going to take out of here. I'm going to click save. But let's add a soundtrack, and I will keep editing this on my own. For now, I will leave. And this time, for real, goodbye, guys.